Hi, my name is Adrian Chase, and I'm a software developer for the NOAA Science on a Sphere team. Today I will be showing you how to download and install SOSx on your computer. Just to give a bit of context, SOSx was software that many schools and museums had to buy in order to use it in their learning exhibits. Now it's free, which makes using it for any educational setting or for personal exploration possible. So let's jump right into how to get SOSx. First off, you will need to download the installer on our website. You can find this under the SOSx section. Then you will need to run it as an administrator. If you don't have administrator privileges, make sure you contact your administrator or IT team to make sure you get these. Once you open up the application with administrator privileges, you will get something like this. This is the initial setup screen that will basically introduce you to the installer. You want to go ahead and click next. You want to go read in our license agreement and then click next. Here you can configure the shortcuts that you want for the application. I would go ahead and just leave these enabled. This will make sure that you have the necessary shortcuts for all the applications and add-ons for SOSx once it's installed. Just go ahead and click next. In this screen you can choose the location on your computer and hard drive where you want to install SOSx. The default location is pretty good unless for some reason you feel like you don't have enough storage there to install the application. Do note that the installer will later ask you how many datasets you want to install, and that will impact heavily how much storage you will need. So if you want to install most of our datasets or all of them, that will take 176 gigabytes approximately. So if you do want to go that route and you don't have enough storage, we recommend you change the location to a place where you have more storage. For now, I'll just leave the default location and then click next. In this screen, you will be presented with the option of enabling or disabling real-time dataset syncing. By default, it's enabled, which means this box is checked. We recommend you leave this checked unless for some specific reason you don't want this task running. What this does is basically run a task that runs a small script. A script is basically just a utility that's running things on your computer in the background that updates the datasets on your computer. In this case, it's downloading the latest real-time data from NOAA that are images, adding those to your SOSx application, and removing the old ones. So every time that you open it up, it'll have the latest data. This task will be run every week, 9 a.m. your local time on Tuesday. So if you get a prompt, and we're going to show you what that looks like in a bit, don't be worried. It's just the dataset syncing process starting up, and this will start up automatically without you having to do anything. So in this case, I do want to install some real-time datasets, and I do want to sync them, so I'm going to leave this enabled and then click next. Here you will be presented with the installation type screen. You can choose which one you want here. An essential install basically installs a curated list of our most popular datasets. This is the smallest install. We recommend this if you're just starting out or just trying out the software or don't have a lot of storage on your computer. The custom install lets you choose the specific datasets that you want and customize the install to your needs basically. So you can go ahead and fine tune how many datasets and which datasets you want if you go with this option. The complete option will actually add all the datasets to your install, which means it'll take a lot of storage and will be the longest to install. So if you choose essential or complete, the install will start and you just leave it doing its thing. However, if you choose custom, you'll have a few more options to customize. So I chose custom, and I'm presented with this, what we call the dataset selection tree. This is just a selection tree where we categorize different datasets, and then if you open up each category, you will see each specific dataset. By default, the checked datasets are the ones that come in the essential install. So if you don't modify anything and just click next, you would be installing an essential install. You can modify this by selecting more datasets to install. You can look at each one of the categories. In this case, I'm going to install a real-time dataset to showcase what that looks like afterwards and the syncing process. To the right, you can see the total size required to install all the datasets you have selected. So in this case, Carbon Tracker is a dataset that has a large amount of storage requirement. So I'm going to go ahead and uncheck it. And as you can see, the storage requirement changed and reduced itself substantially. So we recommend that you look at this so you know how much storage the whole dataset selection will take while you're selecting them. If you click reset, that will basically just reset all the dataset selections to the essential install again. If you click space needed, This will show you the hard drives on your computer. In this case, I have two hard drives. I have a C drive and an E drive, and each one has the available storage and the required storage for the install. Since I selected the C drive as my default location, my required amount of storage is 8.46 gigabytes per what says here. The difference will be the difference between the available and what's required. So this is basically how much storage you'll have left after you install the SOSx software after and with the datasets you have selected. So with that done and the datasets that you have selected, you can go ahead and click next. If you want more details, you can go and click our dataset catalog. That'll take you to our website where you have a detailed description of all of our datasets. I'm going to go ahead and click next. Finally, you're presented with this exhibiting option. If you're not planning on using this machine for exhibiting, we recommend you don't modify the setting. But this will basically hide the SOSx button, exit button on your application, which means users will not be able to quit unless they press Alt plus F4 or Alt plus Function plus F4 on some keyboards. In this case, I'm not going to be using this machine for exhibiting, so I'm not going to enable this option. With that done, you can click Install. So please note that you will, depending on your internet connection, you will need to leave this for some time. This will also depend on the amount of datasets that you have selected. In this case, I was close to an essential install, so this shouldn't take too long. However, this could vary a lot if you chose a complete install and have a slow internet connection. So if it takes a while, make sure you leave it doing its thing. It'll show you an approximate progress here in what it's doing. However, this might load several times, so it's not an accurate indicator of how long it will take. So we recommend you just leave it do its thing, make sure you're not using the computer or leave this in the background. For now, I'm just going to pause the video and be back when this is done. Hi, and welcome back. So if you were successful in installing the whole process and let it go all the way to the end, you will be presented with a screen, which is basically, if you got this means you successfully installed your SOS Explorer application. You can also confirm by checking your desktop and seeing that you have now new icons, including an SOS Explorer icon and an SOSx Utilities icon. This setup page will let you configure some last options before you exit out of the installer. First, you will have the option to launch SOS Explorer. If you leave this checked and you click Finish, this will automatically open up SOS Explorer. Since I don't want to do that right now, I'm going to uncheck this. This is the equivalent of double-clicking the SOS Explorer icon as well. You can also view our quick start guide. We recommend you do look at this if you haven't used SOS Explorer before. So I'm going to go ahead and uncheck this because this will open up our website. Finally, you will have the option of installing LAV filters. LAV filters basically configure your machine and add additional software so that you can have the best video playback on SOS Explorer. There's a lot of the datasets are video. This will basically make sure that your datasets are reproducing correctly. So I'm going to go ahead and leave this checked, and I'm going to show you how to install this. We highly recommend that you do install LAV filters if you don't have that installed on your computer. So I'm going to leave that check and click Finish. This will open up this screen. To go through the setup, you basically need to leave the default options. And just go ahead with the full, leave everything checked, click Next, leave this as is, click Next, leave this screen as is, click Next, click Install. I'm going to leave it there until it's finished. It's going to be a pretty quick process. And then once you're done, you can leave this as is and click Finish. With that, you're done. We recommend you restart your system if you haven't done so. And then you can go ahead and open up SOS Explorer. One additional thing to note is that you will, if you checked the dataset syncing selection screen previously, you will be presented with this. It'll be minimized, so you might not notice it. But if you click on it, this is basically our dataset syncing utility. It's a script that basically runs and shows this command line window. Don't be scared, it's just basically replacing and adding new images into the folders of your datasets. The first time, since when you install real-time datasets, it has no information. It's actually going to be downloading all the latest data. So the first time it syncs, it's going to take longer. So if I'm going to scroll up just to see, you will be presented with this screen that shows, again, confirming that the information that you're downloading comes from NOAA, and that the synchronizing process is actually working. You can also confirm that it's working when you see the numbers here move and adding new items to the list becoming longer, which means it's basically downloading new images, the latest data. You want to go ahead and leave this minimized. You could continue using your computer while this runs, because this will automatically close once it's done with the syncing process. So I'm going to go ahead and minimize this and let it sync my real-time data set that I selected. If accidentally you close this before it finishes syncing, you can reopen up the sync utility by going into your SOSx utilities folder, which will show something like this. And then you can click on SOSx real-time dataset sync. Let me make this a little bit smaller so it's better seen. So these are, again, these are all the icons that are associated with SOS Explorer. You can access this folder by going into SOSx utilities. I'm going to go over each one of these one by one, just so you have a general idea of what these mean. SOS Explorer log is meant for debugging part purposes. If you're having issues with the install, you can go ahead and send us this log file if you contact us through email, if we request it. So you don't want to touch this unless you're requested specifically to share this. SOS Explorer, again, is the same shortcut as the one on your desktop. This will just open the SOS Explorer app. SOSx configuration basically lets you configure a lot of the aspects of your SOS Explorer install. SOSx Dataset Manager, this lets you customize your dataset installation. So for example, let's think of you having installed the essential install and then realizing you want to add a lot of real-time datasets. You can do this by double-clicking this, and I'm going to show you real quick. I'm going to double-click this. Sorry for the black screen. That's just the administrator privileges prompt. If you don't, you will need administrator privileges to be able to modify your installation as well. So you will be presented with a screen if you want to modify datasets. You click next. You'll basically show the tree that I showcased earlier. So for example, if I wanted to add more real-time datasets, I can go ahead and click more, then click next, and that will add those datasets to my installation. So you can always modify, come back, add more. You can also remove these. If you uncheck all of these, and click next, this will remove them. As you can see, the total size requirement for the one selected is negative 3.79, which means basically that I'll be freeing up 3.79 gigabytes of storage on my install. You can use this as reference. Again, if you click reset, this will basically make sure that you have only the dataset selected for an essential install. And if you click space needed, this will again show you the difference of storage space depending on what you changed. So for example, in this case, I have 671 gigabytes. I removed one of the real-time datasets I had installed. So after the fact, I will actually free up almost 4 gigabytes of storage. So the difference will be shown here. With that, you can click next and leave it do its process. It might take a while, depending on your on time and the amount of on your internet connection, the amount of datasets you have selected or deselected. So I'm not going to do this right now. I'm just going to go ahead and exit out of this. One thing to note is that if you do add real-time datasets to this, you will have the dataset syncing screen, again, what I showcased here. This will run again, making sure that those new datasets that you added are being synchronized with the latest data. So make sure you leave that running until it's done. Your SOSx local datasets, this is just a shortcut that will take you to the directory where you have your local datasets on your computer. Again, SOSx real-time dataset sync will just run this script. This will run again every Tuesday at 9 a.m. But again, you can also run this manually if you want something sooner by just double-clicking. We recommend that you leave this process running again until it's done. So it'll automatically close once you're done with that. SOSx repair, we recommend you don't run this unless you're having issues. This will basically just reinstall the application if you're having issues opening it up. We also have SOSx Tour Builder. This lets you create custom datasets and custom content for SOS Explorer. This will merit a different tutorial video, so I'm not going to go into details about that, but you can feel free to mess around with that if you're curious. We also have the uninstaller. This will let you remove the entire software from your computer. We'll also have a separate video on showing you how to uninstall it, but just the gist of it is double-clicking this and going through the process. And finally, we have an SOSx Updater app. This basically makes sure that you have the latest information for the app itself. This is not the real-time datasets, this is the app and other datasets. So if we double-click this, for example, you will get checking for dataset screen. In this case, I actually have a dataset available upgrade. So for example, we added an Aurora dataset update. So if you go click next, it'll download the dataset and go through the update process, and just leave it do its process. For example, right now I have an administrator privileges prompt, and then click next and finish installing that. I'm going to go ahead and minimize this. You just basically follow through the process. If you don't have any updates available, you can double click this and it'll just say no updates available, so you don't have any new updates. So that's about it. That's all we have for the installation. You can go ahead and run SOS Explorer here on the shortcut whenever you want. And yeah, feel free to play around. Hope you have fun. Hope it serves your educational purposes, and we're here to help if you have any issues. Thanks so much again, and hope you have a good day.